The Nigerian Navy Doctrine Command has concluded its two-day Military Doctrine Conference with a closing ceremony emphasizing the critical role of doctrine in addressing emerging security challenges. The conference featured presentations by senior military officers including Colonel Ehu Ogunmakinwa, who highlighted the need for adaptive, responsive military doctrines in today's rapidly evolving security environment. Speakers noted that the military doctrine remains the foundation upon which modern armed forces plan, prepare, and respond to threats. They stressed that doctrine provides a framework for coordinating personnel, equipment, technology, and operations to achieve national security objectives.
Doctrine seems very abstract, especially to the younger ones, but doctrine is not abstract. It seems abstract because we have not actually seen doctrine, the documents. We've heard about doctrines, even to the ratings, we've heard about doctrines, but how many of you have seen it? That's why maybe you're just looking at it as an abstract, something abstract. But it is not abstract. I'm very happy now that we are in the world of information technology, everything, this, that. So if you want the doctrine, you can have an e-copy of the doctrine. But it's not just having the e-copy of the doctrine or a document and not read it. But if you don't read it, it's still going to be an abstract. So when you lay your hands on this documents, make effort to read, and from there you find out that doctrines is not actually abstract.
They identified the importance of integrating military doctrine to the broader instruments of national power such as diplomacy, economy, and information to ensure that the military operations actively support holistic national policies objectives. They urge the development of joint subordinate doctrines on areas such as joint task force, joint logistics, joint unmanned area systems use, joint media operations, and non-combatant evacuation, amongst other doctrines. They reaffirmed the necessity to develop doctrines that strengthen interagency cooperation with civilians and paramilitary organizations involved in maritime security.
I want to assure you that the communique from this seminar will be actively implemented as gathered doctrines and are as valuable as the real-time execution.
Participants observed that contemporary security challenges now extend beyond conventional warfare to include terrorism, piracy, high-tech cybercrime, civil unrest, natural disasters, and other transnational threats.
You must give life to the doctrine. Our table of equipment now, is it in line with our doctrine? As we move from the Trident strategy to the total spectrum maritime strategy with 5 layers, do we have the platforms to carry out the functions of each of these layers? So, some countries have done what? Adoption of sophisticated weaponry, UAVs and USVs. Have you heard of the Russian Navy taking part in this conflict in Ukraine? Because Ukraine has adopted what? Technology, unmanned surface vessels. Today, they have unmanned ground vehicles, they have unmanned area vehicles. And all these things have really given Ukraine, a country without air power, some ability to stand up to Russia.
The conference further underscored the importance of adapting military strategies to emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, drones, cyber warfare, and electronic warfare, which continue to reshape modern conflicts. Drawing lessons from the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, experts emphasized the value of flexible doctrine, mission command, decentralized decision-making, and intelligence-driven operations in responding effectively to changing battlefield realities. They also highlighted the growing need for joint and multiple agency collaboration among the armed forces, security agencies, government institutions, and international partners in tackling complex security threats.
Doctrines, as it is, as it were, will determine a lot of things that will happen. The doctrine will determine your kind of training, will determine your kind of acquisition. In fact, it will determine everything. So, in the review of the joint doctrine, which we have, there's a portion that says that the Joint Defense Doctrine is a proactive, offensive doctrine. Just take time and look at the 2017 doctrine that we have. What does that tell you? It tells us that whatever training that we're going to have, whatever acquisition that we're going to have, must reflect that it is proactive, it is offensive, it is no longer deterrence or defensive. So, if you look at that, will you say that our own naval doctrine is in response to that? So, the connection between the joint doctrine and the services doctrine, I think that is where you have to capture it to ensure that whatever the joint doctrine says, that if it is offensive, it is proactive, it means that all other services doctrine must also be what? Proactive, offensive, and must be proactive and offensive.
AI is something that can even help us to go faster. It's an advantage that we can use it both in developing the doctrine. So that is where the world is going. And in reality, unfortunately, we don't have, and that's why I'm saying we need to adapt quickly, because we don't even have the luxury of time.
The Nigerian Navy reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening training, promoting innovation, integrating emerging technologies, and continuously reviewing its doctrine to enhance operational effectiveness and national security. Experts at the conference concluded that a flexible, evolving doctrine remains essential for maintaining military readiness and ensuring success in an increasingly complex global security environment.